Hi and welcome to our 21st episode, and I'm in conversation with the Dean and Director of Six Cricket Academy, Mr. Jeshwant. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
As always, we've been thankful to all the parents and viewers for sending us with their questions. And today's question is, how can a parent strike a balance between being supportive and not putting too much pressure on the child's sports performance? What's your take on this?
Yeah, it's a good question because now my problem as a coach has been that the parents are overprotective or over supportive of the children, because see, this sport is all about you go in the center and you perform. That is the athlete. So the coaches and the parents have a role which is outside the boundary line. So we should understand that we should prepare the player as much as possible to take his own decisions, handle pressure, and this comes with a lot of practice and a lot of playing matches. So now, how to be supportive? Say like how we all normal parents support the children as far as their education is concerned. Similar way, sport also could be looked at. It should not be looked at, as somebody starts, everybody starts at an amateur level. So very few or very very minute percentage go on to become professionals. So you will get the signals when, from an amateur, your child is becoming a professional. Is he good at that particular sport? So that is when I think you got to get in more with it. Not, unfortunately, my experience has been that, at the start, they start very early and they quit very early. So when the talent is about to, mature and, get that success, is when the parents, pull off the athlete from the sport, which there is a big talent loss across, the cricketing fraternity, at least what I've seen. So that's not a good thing. So coming back to the question, just be a normal, this one, there is no overemphasize or, by putting overemphasizing on a particular sport or, how much did you score, how many wickets did you get, all these kind of things only going to add to the pressure of the player. So it is like how you treat your child as a student. Similarly, treat him the way you are supposed to treat the athlete, in a very similar way.
Moving on to the second question, how can a parent help their child develop resilience and learn from their losses in sports?
Yeah, this is also very relevant things, because I hear a lot of parents saying that my son or daughter is not having food, they're not able to sleep properly. So this is all growth, isn't it? We all go through pressures in life. It may be on field or off field. So sport is teaching all this in a different way. So I think it's a great learning. Now, resilience as to how do you get out of failure, or how do you come back strongly after a fall. These are all things which the sport teaches. And as a parent or as a coach, there's no point again putting pressure on them. They will learn. So we have to be patient. Some athletes will learn it quickly. Some have that inbuilt skill of, some athletes even do have the skills of doing better after a fall. So they're very resilient, and in our life, almost on an everyday basis, we see these things and we all come out of it. Sport teaches you that in a very quick manner. I think you should be supportive and happy about that, rather than how do you come out. And sport itself teaches all that. And somebody who is naturally gifted will certainly come out quicker. Some will take more time. So if your child happens to be the athlete who's going to take more time, so it is all the more supportive you got to be, and all the more patient. I'm sure the athlete will come over it. And as a parent, I think you got to be giving that confidence to him that the greatest of athletes have failed, because coaching or this kind of any sport, it doesn't go linear. It's up and down. It is not like I often say, like, if you go to school or college, every year you're promoted. Here that may not be. There could be demotion, or there could be stagnation, and then there'll be a sudden spike up. So I think you got to wait for that as parent and be supportive to the athlete.
Moving on to the third question, can you share an insight on how inconsistent parental involvement may affect a child's motivation and commitment in sports?
See, this is I want to answer it in two parts. See, one is the parent and one is the athlete itself. Now, coming to the parent side, if you are inconsistent, that being an adult, like where I mean, the question probably the person was asked means inconsistent means sometimes being very supportive or being very happy with the child's performance, the athlete's performance, or sometimes where the athlete has performed badly, there is no support at all. I think that is what this question means. So the answer also lies in that. If you are going to be inconsistent, your child who is much younger than you, obviously you cannot expect him to be consistent. So that is why, if your expectations are very high, all these things will happen. So when your child does well, you treat him like a hero. When he does badly, and you're his friend, or
You criticize him.
yeah, a neighbor does better than your child, then you start criticizing him. That is not helping anybody. It's not helping you also, because you have to introspect about your character. So it is not that you also have great days throughout your life. There are days, and how do you expect someone to criticize you? So the same thing applies to the sport parent also. Now, coming to the question of motivation, obviously the motivation levels also will be up and down. When I do well, my parents are very happy. So okay, I aspire to do well, but aren't you not putting pressure on yourself as an athlete? So the motivation should be intrinsic. I am not against extrinsic motivation, which gives you fame, money, success, recognition. All that is fine. That is one way of being motivated. But the greatest of athletes who have succeeded and stayed at the top are athletes in any walk of sport, are those people who intrinsically loved what they did. Say like batting, not to become something. They just loved batting. They just loved hitting the ball. The bowling, I've seen bowlers who would just pick the ball and bowl from the start of the sessions to the end of the session. So it's sheer love of bowling and beating the batsman, getting the batsman out. So that is that intrinsic motivation which is required for an athlete. So parent also should play a very supportive role, and if you can drive your child towards intrinsic motivation where he just loves the sport, loves to be under the sun, loves to meet people, loves to learn a lot of values which the sport carries with it, rather than playing for selections, you're playing for representation, you're unnecessarily pressurizing the athlete and pressurizing your own life also. Like at the start I told, it is not that everybody will make it. So be happy, and there will come a time where you have to fully focus on the sport, where education can take a backseat, but that is at the level when your child becomes a professional. So what I'm seeing now is that at the start, the parents are pulling the children off the school. They're putting their 24 hours in the game. They're only harming them. They're only pressurizing them. It was not like that before. And it's not that before champions were not there. There are a lot of champions who come before from Gavaskar days, who were very good in studies. They did their school, college properly, and I think that is the way. Instead of putting all your eggs in one basket and then hoping. Because from my experience as a coach for more than 20 years now, my what I'm seeing is these kind of athletes or parents who have pulled their children out of education and put a lot of time on sport are not, I don't see any success, or very few have succeeded that way. And people who have had a balance with education, I see them, doing well. So like, to sum it up, I would say that, when you recognize that, yes, my son or daughter has a future somewhere in the sport, with chosen sport, that is the time I think you got to put in all effort. Till that time, I think, go along with education and sport. So that is my my statement to all the sports parents. Don't try to pressurize your child, so that that will take you a long way.
Thank you so much, Jeshwant sir, and also stay tuned for our next episode on the 1st of every month.